morning students, welcome to biology online class. In last class we have discussed about reproduction in plants. In reproduction in plants, what is reproduction? The process of individual is giving young one by its own is called reproduction. Then reproduction mainly is important to increasing their species from one generation to another generation. Then reproduction is stopped. What happened? Then stop the reproduction. There is no species of next generation. That's why reproduction is very important in plants. Okay. Then reproduction is divided into two types. They are vegetative reproduction and reproductive reproduction. Vegetative reproduction. Vegetative parts like roots, stem and leaves are producing young one is called vegetative reproduction. Then example, sugarcane, bryophyllum and curry leaf plant, carrot, beetroot and radish also reproduce through the roots. Next, reproductive reproduction. It is mainly divided into two types. They are asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Then asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is different types. Asexual reproduction is different types. Then asexual reproduction are without involvement of seeds. Without involvement of seeds. But sexual reproduction is involvement of seeds. Then asexual reproduction takes place by spores. But sexual reproduction takes place by seeds. Okay. Then we will discuss about the topic is spore formation. Spore formation. Then asexual reproduction is different types. Asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is different types. They are spore formation. Spore formation. Then another one is fragmentation. Another one is fragmentation. Then next budding. Next process is budding. These are the asexual reproduction. Then first one is spore formation. Spore formation is takes place by some plants like moss and fern, and another one is bread mold. Bread mold is otherwise called rhizopus. Bread mold is otherwise called rhizopus. Okay, moss plant. fern plant. Then plant soil is containing a small spores. Then sporophylls are break down. The spores are comes out from the sporophylls. It's spreading surrounding the plant. It's spreading surround the plant. Under favorable conditions, each spore is develop a small fern plant. Each spore is develop a small fern plant. There is asexual reproduction is different types. There is a spore formation, fragmentation, budding. Then first one is spore formation. Example: moss plant, fern plant, bread mold, or otherwise called rhizopus. Bread mold is a fungus. Bread mold is a fungus. Then moss plant is producing spores in a capsule. Then spores are matured. The breakdown the mouth of the capsule, all spores are comes out and spreading surrounding the moss plant. Under favorable condition, each spore is develop a small moss plant. Next, second one is fern plant. Fern plant. Okay. Then fern plant leaves are called fronds. These leaves are called fronds. Then tip of the leaves is present a black structures are called sori or sporophylls. Then each sporophyll is contain a small microscopic structures are called spores. When spores are matured, then sporophylls are burst and it comes out from the sporophylls and spreading surrounding the plant. Under favorable condition, each spore is developed a small fern plant. Then it is about the fern plant. Next, another one is bread mold. Bread mold is one of the fungi. It is one of the fungi. Bread mold is otherwise called rhizopus. It is otherwise called rhizopus. Then bread mold is growing on bread slices. It is a bread slices. Take one bread slice and sprinkle water on the bread. After few days, the bread is growing a filamentous structures. Around filamentous structures are called sporangium. This is called sporangium. Sporangium is containing small microscopic structures are called spores. Microscopic structures are called spores. This is called stolon. Then growing some roots also. These are called rhizoids. These are called rhizoids. It is a bread mold. Okay. So listen carefully. Then bread mold. Bread mold is a fungi. Bread mold is a fungi. Take a small bread slice and keep on the table and sprinkle a little amount of water on the bread slice and it kept in warm places. After few days, on the bread slices is developed a small glittering spores. Thread-like spores are growing on the bread. These are called bread mold. They producing a black structures are called sporangium. The sporangium is containing spores. Okay, the spores are matured. The breakdown of the sporangium, then all spores are comes out from the sporangium and spreading surrounding the places. Under favorable condition, again each spore is developed a small bread mold or rhizopus plant. Bread mold or rhizopus plant. It is about the spore formation. The next one is second one, fragmentation. What is about the fragmentation? Second one, fragmentation means some of the plants like algae. Some of the plants like algae are growing on the water, surface of the water. These plants are called ponds Fragmentation. Fragmentation example. Spirogyra. Spirogyra is growing on water. It is growing on water and it presents a filamentous body. It is a small structures are present in the Spirogyra. Then it growing on water. It is growing on water and it break down into one or more filamentous body. Then each filament is developed a small Spirogyra plant. The breakdown of filamentous body of Spirogyra is called fragmentation. Fragmentation means the plant is break down one or more pieces. Each filamentous body is developed into a small plant is called fragmentation. Fragmentation is example Spirogyra. Spirogyra is growing on water. Next, third one is budding. Budding is example yeast. Yeast cells. Multiplying, dividing of birds is called budding. A process, the formation of yeast with the help of bird. Is called budding. For example, it is a yeast cell. Then it present number of cells attached or link-like structure. In some ways, they are matured after it detached from the parent organism. Then after it develop into individual. This process is called budding. The formation of buds by yeast cells is called budding. Then example yeast cell. Then another one is hydra. Hydra also is producing buds. It is reproduced through the buds. Is called budding. Next we will discuss about another one is vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation also one of the asexual reproduction. See, fragmentation. Then Spirogyra is a filamentous body. Is break down into small pieces. Each filamentous body is developed into small young plant. Is called fragmentation. The Spirogyra is growing on water. Budding example yeast cell. Yeast is a fungi. Then formation of buds is reproducing by the organism is called budding. For example, yeast and hydra. Then yeast is producing small bud-like structures. It is matured the buds and it is divided from the parent organism and develop into individual. This process is called budding. Next one is vegetative propagation. Next another one is vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation means vegetative parts such as leaves, roots and stem is producing young ones is called vegetative propagation.